evening. Welcome to the January 16th, 2025 regular board meeting of Skokie 68. We will hereby open the public hearing. Oh, call to order. Let's have a roll call.
Jordan.
Here.
Hyatt.
Yes.
Lonegro.
Yes.
Ruffner.
Yes.
Sturbins.
Here.
Sullivan.
Here.
Borshaw.
Yes.
After all that, I panicked. I hereby open the public hearing for the intent of the Board of Education of School District 68, Cook County, Illinois, to sell not to exceed $6,125,000 working cash fund bonds. Shall we begin? Sure. Here we are. Welcome.
Everyone knows Elizabeth.
Sure, yeah, so joining us tonight is Elizabeth Hennessy from Raymond and James. Elizabeth's been supporting us in this process as she has in past years. Appreciate you being here tonight.
Thank you very much. Just to update the board and the community and the public about the purpose of the bonds and the process. I have this presentation, which I'm hoping, oh yes, it does work. Okay, so the bond market has been volatile since December. We've had the Fed raise rates or lowered rates 25 basis points, which was good, but then mentioned that they probably would not take a wait and see stance for 25. Then last Friday, we had a very strong employment report, which was good for the economy, but good news for the economy is not so good for the bond market. So we've had upward pressure on interest rates, and we've seen the US Treasury, which kind of sets the path for municipal bonds, increase up to 475 when just a month ago it was at 415. So that has impacted our market. Here is the option to issue 6.1 million bonds. The board has reviewed several options and has come to view this as the best. It is a very small tax increase to the community, about 4 cents. The bonds will be paid off over 5 years and generate just under 6.1 million. So the interest rate on this option is 3.35%. This was back in December. We're now up about 50 basis points to 3.7%. So we'll watch these rates go up and down until we're ready to sell the bonds. So here's just a graphic. The blue bars show the outstanding bonds. The green bars show the 5-year repayment of 6.1 million. Here's an analysis looking at a private versus a public sale. The board in past years has privately placed these bonds typically with the Niles Township Treasurer because it's a low cost of issuance. But in this case, because we're issuing 6.1 million and we're going out 5 years, the cost of the private placement, as indicated by BMO Bank, is higher than if you use the district's very strong AA+ bond rating and go to the public market. So we're recommending that you go to the public market because of the lower all-in cost driven primarily by the interest rates associated with that strong AA+ rating. This analysis was done back in December, so rates are higher, but they go up proportionally on both the private and the public. So we're recommending the public sale to investors with rated bonds. And then lastly, bringing you to the schedule, here we are on January 16th. The board approved the resolution of intent at its December meeting. Tonight, we're having the public hearing on the issue of the bonds. February 20th, we will approve the parameters bond resolution for the issue of the working cash bonds, and then sell around February 25th, and file that with the Cook County Clerk after that, and then close the bond issue March 11th. March 20th, the board would consider a resolution transferring the working cash bond proceeds from the working cash fund to the building fund to be used on your continued capital plan. So, any questions?
No questions from the board? Nope. Right. We now open this hearing to comments from members of the public. Does anyone wish to comment or have any questions related to the approval of the working cash fund bonds? Hearing none, we shall adjourn the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And we now open our meeting for public comment, though I don't believe anyone has registered one. I've just seen Cindy Stevens for the first time. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. And we move right on into our superintendent's reports.
Excellent. Good evening, everyone. Happy winter. Thank you for being here tonight on a cold spell of days. The first item I wanted to touch upon is our multi-year facilities improvement plan. This is an item that's been discussed in the past, and tonight we are just providing you with a very brief snapshot of work in progress. This is new for the district, and the goal here is for us to show you the level of detail in which we're trying to think through projects current, future, and also maybe even on the wish list. You'll see this aligns to our facilities and safety goal within our strategic plan, as well as communication and engagement. There really are 4 areas of purpose in this presentation and really in the plan itself. The first is for us to closely monitor the facility maintenance and the modernization items. Again, the focus here on itemization and detail. The second, you'll see where there's an asterisk, it's either an existing strategic plan goal or an existing strategic plan key performance indicator. And one of those is to conduct an ongoing assessment of our district facilities. Prioritization is a big piece here. There's a lot of work that needs to get done, there's a lot of work that could get done, and there's a lot of work that we want to do. So it helps us really prioritize out and see where and what needs to happen. And then the 21st century learning spaces, as you know, we've had tons of improvements in the district and many more to come. So we want to make sure that that's always on the focus as well. The third, around supporting energy efficiency and sustainability. We now have geothermal up and running. Very exciting. There's more to come on that. We'll have other sustainability opportunities as it relates to some of the newer facilities at the ECC. And we'll continue to look at that as well with Old Orchard and Highland even in the future. Number 4, provide transparency through the annual capital projects board report. That's an actual key performance indicator listed on the existing strategic plan. This would allow for that to almost exist in real time once it's finished. Again, right now it's being filled out and thought out. The template is there thanks to Kenya and her team, as well as our SDR architect partners. But the focus on long-term financial planning and forecasting and deciding what needs to happen and when. So that's the overview. I'm going to hand it over to Kenya to just talk through a couple of snapshots. Some of these items are admittedly, shall I say, the less attractive work that sometimes needs to happen in the house. So this is not all we're focused on. We've got some other really cool ideas, but I didn't want her to have to talk about the boiler room over at 001 in the garbage area. It's not all we're focused on, but this is just kind of what we're bringing to show you tonight.
So what we had a meeting with STR and we looked at all the life safety items that we had, category A, category B, category C, which we have to do for the state, and we put those projects on this plan. The whole goal was to give you a map of how they're gonna flow from one school year to the next in one basic documentation. And this is what that's gonna do. It's gonna add all the additional projects, all the life safety projects, and any other projects we may have to have in the future with each building. And it's gonna be colorful, so if you like the colors, good. If you don't, let me know. And it'll show phases of those projects by building, by the category of the projects for each building. So it'll give you a nice snapshot. And this is a sample of what we're gonna do for the form. So as you can see, it's broken out by each building, and it also has it highlighted for each building, so that blue color will flow through all the years and shade it out, give a plot-like chart to see when those projects are gonna be done with dollar amounts. And then this tab is gonna be the wish list of other things that we're not sure is high priority based on life safety that people may want in their buildings. Old Orchard has already given me their wish list, so I did add that on here already. And we're gonna prioritize them as high, medium, and low, and then try and fit them into the 5-year plan. And that's basically it.
Any questions? You bet. Any questions, comments, input at all on multi-year facilities improvement thoughts?
I just have a quick question.
Sure.
You said so like everyone can see it, where is it gonna be housed?
That's a good question.
Well, it could be housed on the new website. We're going to be having.
Yeah.
And,
Yes, that's a good point.
in the business and operations area, so we can house it there. And, or, somewhere else we might be able to see it for staff and everybody else, the public to see. But it'll be public documentation because the life safety is already public on the state website. So it wouldn't be anything that can't be publicized anymore.
Yeah, and just to emphasize again, we displayed the more nuts and bolts areas, but there are going to be rows that are around some of the more exciting things that people have either suggested or have always wanted, to help us again have a space to see how and when and could we fit those in or maybe not. But rather than have them circulate and never show up somewhere, this is a great spot to sort of catch it all. Any others?
I have just a quick
Sure.
question. If this is potentially more public-facing, descriptive of ideas, would there be a more internal working doc that is kind of assessing the, not viability, but, there are variables that, recommended improvement beyond cost of work that I imagine your team would be looking
Yes.
at kind of internally facing?
Yes.
Because, beyond cost, there's a number of.
It's always a number of things, and then we have our meetings, so I do have operation meetings. So we'll probably go in detail and discuss them in more in depth there, but just have a nice summary area for them would be what this document would be.
So the master plan for the campuses, so to speak, is that more detailed internally facing?
Yeah,
Very.
I have more detail on a bigger master plan with details on when we're gonna do them, some details of who's gonna be involved. When we do RFPs for sections, if they're over the $35,000 threshold limit, those will be discussed when we do all of that too.
And that would still come out through the regular board
Mhm.
process, but
Yeah.
this is just something to keep people kind of tuned into what we're thinking about and
Yeah.
kind of excited about their ideas, I
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And to itemize it. I mean,
Yeah.
the real piece is to really have an itemized idea of what we can afford to do and what maybe we can wait on. Again, similar to like a home improvement plan that you would, build out if you were trying to phase in projects, it's really the same.
Another part of the tab you don't see is more over to the right, it breaks it down by school year. The financial component. So the part that we have a snapshot of showing you the cost value of each one, but it also phase that cost value into each school year that would be affected by that. So then it also sees the bigger picture of a 5-year plan of all of those projects and the cost.
Thank you. Anything else on the multi-year facilities? All right, we're gonna talk a little bit more about spaces in just 1 minute. I just wanna run through a couple of key dates. As a reminder, Monday is a day of no school. It's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Thursday, February 13th is Old Orchard Junior High's evening parent-teacher conferences. That came up quick. Friday, February 14th is a full daytime district-wide parent-teacher conferences. Monday, February 16th is President's Day. It's a day of no school. Thursday, February 20th is elementary evening parent-teacher conferences. And Thursday, February 20th is also our next regularly scheduled February Board of Ed meeting. Okay. Speaking of cool spaces, here with us tonight is Dr. Bradley, and she is going to help expose us to this amazing stuff at Highland.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having us. We're pleased to have the opportunity tonight to share a little bit about the Highland Makerspace. Makerspace activities are happening in all of our schools. At Highland, we're fortunate to have a dedicated space for the Makerspace activities. The Makerspace is a dynamic place in the school where students come together to work on a challenge. So students are often in the Makerspace with children from other grade levels, so that also enhances the learning experiences they have. In the Makerspace, they're given a weekly challenge, and they explore, design, experiment, and build to meet the challenge in unique ways. They use design thinking, inductive and deductive reasoning, perseverance to solve problems, using the specific materials that they're provided with. The materials are typically some things that are being repurposed or reused. The 4 C's, creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, and communication, are the foundation of the work the students do in the makerspace. And our Highland team is going to show and tell you more about each of these aspects in this presentation. So tonight here from Highland, we have Mrs. Talbert, who is our LMC director, and Megan Looney and Mrs. Lisa Talbert, Miss Megan Looney, who's our science teacher, Mrs. Patty Perrin, who's our math specialist, Mrs. Cindy Stevens, who is one of our 3rd grade teachers, and Mrs. Asiya Hussein, who is one of our 1st grade teachers. And they're gonna take it away.
Okay, so this presentation aligns to our following strategic plan goals of teaching and learning, social emotional learning, and the whole child, and to the school improvement plan goal of ambitious instruction. So harnessing the power of makerspace. So this is our makerspace. It is a separate room in our LMC. Totally set up differently than a normal library with different stools, tables. We have flooring, not carpet, which is great, and lots of wall storage for all the materials. All right, so our makerspace is grounded in the 4 C's, like Dr. Bradley said, with critical thinking, collaboration, communication, and creativity. And our standards align with the engineering standards. So all of the makerspace activities align with an engineering standard. All right, so critical thinking is allows students to reason effectively, think about how smaller parts fit into a bigger system, make decisions by looking at different points of view, and to solve problems. Mrs. Talbert, aka Lisa, aka our library LMC coordinator, has seen students who typically seek out adult support for lots of things will become independent thinkers, and this frequent opportunity to productively struggle helps them to become more independent and confident and trust themselves that they can solve a problem on their own as opposed to seeking adult help. Here you see some students building a maze with some pipes, and they're trying to get the ping pong ball to fly through, and it's Chloe and Abby from grade 5. All right, so here we have a quote from a student. I have learned critical thinking because they only give us certain materials and we have to use what we have. That's Jill from 4th grade. And on the left is a picture of Peyton, who built a character from the Diary of a Wimpy Kid using straws and pipe cleaners. All right, the second C is communication. Students need to communicate clearly, and just as importantly, they have to learn to listen effectively as well. Mrs. Talbert has seen that students who typically struggle in a more traditional academic setting somehow discover their voice because they're tapping into a different skill set that they don't usually have the opportunity to in a classroom. And they take on leadership roles that give them a chance to kind of shine where they might not in a math class per se. So here we have Jeffrey, former student of mine, slightly partial. I like the makerspace because it's fun and we do a lot of communication with our friends. And here we have students who are building a really tall tower, JP and Marcos from 5th grade.
Our 3rd C is collaboration. And collaboration is working effectively with diverse groups of people, compromising to achieve a common goal, and then sharing responsibility while valuing the unique contributions of others. You'll see in the picture there, it's that challenge where they're using pipes to run a ping pong through, and that's Aiden, Caleb, Lucy, and Zara from grade 4. Keep it there for just a moment, sorry. So in the makerspace, they have an opportunity to either choose to work independently or to choose to work as a team. And mostly, students do choose to work collaboratively because not only is it a time for them to be social with their peers, but they've recognized that they get to pool their resources together, they come up with a combination of amazing ideas, and they get to share the load. We have some quotes from some 4th and 5th graders. The upper left is a newcomer to the States and Highland School, and she already recognized that by working in the makerspace collaboratively with her friends helps her to work better with them outside of the makerspace. In the middle, you'll see a picture of a new, different challenge that was an emoji challenge. Students had to make an emoji, and that was a turtle emoji that a group made together, and they were proud that they worked together and wrote who it was. On the bottom, Narti recognizes that he can do harder things when he works in combination with his friends. And on the right-hand side, this is my favorite, Zoe recognizes that you can't succeed if you don't know how to collaborate, and it's a great place to brush up on your people skills. And the 4th C is creativity. That is using a wide range of ideas, creating more ideas, and then elaborating, refining, analyzing, and evaluating those ideas. I especially appreciate creativity as it connects to the math classroom, because I am always asking my students to take a new approach, and so making this connection in the makerspace is definitely something that we can transfer into other subject areas. On the left-hand side, you'll see a picture of our 3rd grade student Finnegan, and he was challenged, which many of them were, to create a contraption for a hero to go rescue the cat that's stuck up in the tree that you see there. So that's Finnegan's design. And then in the middle here, we have another design from a group, and they chose to create an elevator. And so when they step on the popsicle stick at the bottom of the elevator, they're hoisted up to the top to go gather their cat. And what Lisa had to say about creativity is that she is always just stunned by the amount of creativity in their final products, that when she designs these challenges, she anticipates certain things that kids will do, but they always far exceed her expectations. And some of the quotes that our friends said about creativity, Evan knows that it will follow him into later grades and into his future career. And then our friend Ada knows that when she is creative, she can create something even more exciting and better than she expected it to turn out. So those are the 4 C's of the makerspace.
I'm gonna stay seated. I've got a new accessory on my foot, so I'm not trying to be impolite. I'm just seated for that. So these are the routines that Lisa posts every single week. She has put such intentionality into these routines. When the makerspace is first introduced, it includes the district-wide champ expectations, which I'm sure you've heard folks talk about before, the challenge itself, a list of the materials, and also the cleanup directions. One of the great things I appreciate this, and I know students do as well, are the visual cues that help make it accessible for all of our learners. This consistency helps to provide students to learn boundaries and practice becoming responsible for their learning and behavior. A new scaffold that Lisa and actually Cindy as a 3rd grade teacher and 5th grade teachers have created is a buddy system where our 5th grade students pair up with 3rd graders as they're first learning of their routines, and they come and can be a mentor and have that leadership opportunity for them. So that's been a really great asset. At one of the cleanup routines that you may or may not have noticed in the last slide is a reflection tool. So at the end, as they're cleaning up, students have to rate or indicate which of the 4 C's did they utilize the most during that challenge. They turn that in to Lisa, and between herself and our library assistant, Ms. Argandawal, they record the students' responses. Then Lisa actually uses those responses to reflect and mindfully select upcoming challenges. So it's a very creativity-based challenge that she can know in the future, maybe I want to focus on one that emphasizes more critical thinking or communication. So we surveyed our 4th and 5th graders because they had the most experience with the makerspace. You can see on the left that they indicated that their strength is creativity. Mrs. Talbert, as Patty mentioned, agrees with that. When it comes to the area that they've improved the most over time, just over 50% of them indicated their collaboration and communication skills. As Patty also mentioned, communication is an area they need more practice on, and so having these weekly opportunities to work on things with their friends, you might have noticed the word friends in a lot of their quotes, they get that opportunity to work on that while they're doing some critical thinking. Speaking of critical thinking, our students indicated that 68% of them strongly agree that teachers want them to become better thinkers. And the Makerspace challenges give them opportunities to go outside the usual routine and their regular academics to do so. The challenges that Lisa's helped to create fosters their critical thinking and their skills beyond the rote memorization. Maeve, one of our 4th grade students, said, "The Makerspace will help me in the future," I want to make sure I quote her accurately, "because I will not get frustrated with myself if my brain is not telling me I'm doing this well, but I will know that I am doing it well." So our students get it. They understand that we want them as teachers to think beyond, and the Makerspace is a great opportunity to do that and work on their perseverance and their critical thinking. And speaking of critical thinking, I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Talbert now.
So we have decided that we would like you to take the same challenge that our students are currently working on. So I'm gonna hand a bucket to you. You're gonna work with the person sitting next to you. And as the students walk in, they set a timer on their iPad. I'm not gonna ask you to do that. We'll keep time for you. But your challenge for today is to create or build a shovel that you can use to shovel up the snow. And you're,
no, I think it's just.
get started.
Build a shovel. What you said.
You gonna build a shovel?
The challenge is to build a shovel that you can use to pick up the snow.
I feel like a couple of these. It's like you're on the handle. You want a snow shovel?
So you have just 5 minutes?
One person's holding, one person's taping.
When my brain tells me I'm not doing this well, the other part of my brain is reminding
Let me see your handle.
Should we bring back some materials?
Collaboration, critical thinking, right there. Oh, I didn't take it. Oh, yeah, they both do, look.
1 minute warning. We give you a little extra time, and we're giving you, but they're also kids.
You're giving us way too much.
There it is. Now start shoveling, or is that?
Demonstrate our
Of course you can pick it up from the bucket when you have something like push it, you can pick it up from the desk.
Did you see what we did here?
Well,
Little innovation.
I haven't seen that before either. Creative.
We got that was rare genius.
When's the, yeah, it's the schedule.
Want to do some scooping?
Sure. Oh, yeah. Look at that. A snow cone.
You're asking to know what Helen house, tell us which overseas you think you use the
We thought I'd say
All the same. Yeah, we collaborate, we did all yeah, we did
Say critical thinking.
I'm gonna have to say this.
No? Is that
look at the tape, it's innovative.
There you go.
Yeah, I can do that first too. Yeah.
So as you're grabbing it out,
There you go.
Stab it.
as you're grabbing
Guys, your last one.
Listen, we're not worried about
It's
being.
not a race, but we'll lose.
The fact that you mentioned it is interesting.
So you all brought the same energy to that we did have a question as to like, how often do kids get to do this and when do they do it? This is part of our win time, and each class, for 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade, they have a schedule for what day each child will have the opportunity to go on up to the makerspace while others are doing other individual things in the classroom or working in small group with the teacher. So every child gets the opportunity in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade to go to the makerspace every week. The makerspace, I don't know if you can tell from the pictures, it's a room that has glass all around it, so the librarian can look in at all times, but there is no teacher in the actual room. The children have to negotiate with each other, which is also really, really important communication skill as well. So that's the end of our presentation. Thank you all for participating. You all really had a lot of enthusiasm. Do you have any questions for the team?
I would just highlight the collaboration and communication of all of you is clearly evident. I think the fact that you all seem to be natural, champions of this space is awesome. I also think it's worth highlighting that the design and the questioning that you pose is clearly super engaging, because the students, they walk into that space and they just go, and it's really, really awesome to see. So thank you.
I mean, I would like to say that the reflection part is the best part, and then giving them that vocabulary that, we need to collaborate more, or we need to communicate better. I mean, they need that to kind of find their way, or, so I thought that was awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that there's schools of business that take each of these 4 colleges of business, each of these 4 critical components here, to drive innovation and entrepreneurship. And so in addition to just teaching these life skills, these are also pre-professional skills that are gonna follow our students through, you know, everything they do, and just, you know, recognizing that kind of even tacitly, it's wonderful. Thank you.
It's clear you guys collaborate and communicate because you all are aesthetically.
This is not planned.
Like the leopard was planned?
No.
Amazing.
When you walked in, I just burst out laughing.
I was waiting for a class, she came down the hall and like flipped off her jacket. And then Maddie had glasses too.
And they told me to go home and put leopard on.
Yeah, of course.
That's making it too bad. Subtle coordination.
Love it.
Thank you.
All right, thus ends the cotton ball portion of our evening, so if you must leave, we understand. All downhill from here. Our next item of business is the approval of minutes. May I have a motion?
We did adjust it.
Okay, I move to approve the minutes from December 19th, 2024 Board of Education regular meeting and December 19th, 2024 Board of Education closed session meeting.
Second.
Hyatt,
Yes.
Lonegro,
Yes.
Ruffner,
Yes.
Sturbins,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Warshaw,
Yes.
Ball Jordan.
Yes.
Thank you. The consent agenda is our next item of business. The consent agenda includes the personnel report covering employee change of status, resignation, and retirement, as posted with the agenda for this meeting. Financial reports, which includes fund balances for December 24, and the statement of position report. Pay orders and expenditures, which includes accounts payable, statement of cash flow, and the P-card monthly report. Board of Education policy second readings. Does any board member wish to remove an item from the consent agenda? Hearing no, may I have a motion and a roll call vote to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented by the board president.
Second.
Lonegro,
Yes.
Ruffner,
Yes.
Sturbins,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Warshaw,
Yes.
Ball Jordan,
Yes.
Hyatt.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. We move on to our reports and discussion items, starting with our Ed Red.
The lame duck session down in Springfield was slightly more eventful than anticipated. Instead of 0 education-related bills that could affect our district, 1 was passed. And it sounds a lot more substantial than I think it will be, at least in the near future. It's a bill that I've discussed it here, and it's been brought up in the legislature a couple times to make the accessibility of kosher and halal meals easier for districts and families. It did pass this time. You may recall it passed and was vetoed about a year and a half ago because of concerns about funding. There is still no funding.
Yeah.
And instead, there are measures put into the bill that assure districts both that they will not be forced to pay more than the federal reduced rate lunch per meal, and also that districts will not have to go and put procedures forward or take any steps until and unless there is a statewide contract for the production of the meals. And there was no money appropriated for it, and we're facing a statewide budget deficit.
Yeah.
So it's nice that the framework is now in place, so that in the future, clearly the legislature recognized this is important. There's great value to ensuring families and students have access to food for their children when they're at school that matches their cultural and religious values, but they did not find a way to fund it at this point. And I don't think it's likely going to be funded this coming cycle, given the uphill, fiscal challenges the state is facing. So, baby steps, but they were steps, and that's pretty much all that took place educationally during the lame duck session. So, we'll get up and rolling again soon enough with the regular session starting.
Thank you, Jeff. Move on to the draft 25-26 Board of Education regular meeting calendar.
This is just a draft that is brought forth now in January. This would typically be then approved in April. The calendar works out in such that we would be able to maintain the third Thursday of each month for the board meetings, following a similar sequence and structure as been in the past. No major obstacles forecast here just yet. If you see any, by all means, please feel free to let me know and we'll work to make any necessary adjustments.
Any thoughts, comments? All right, move on to our Board of Education first readings. Stop me if we need to elaborate on any of these. We should have in our packets 5230, maintaining student discipline, 660, curriculum content, 6135, accelerated placement program, 6270, guidance and counseling program, 710, equal educational opportunities, 7100, health, eye, and dental examinations, immunizations, and exclusion of students, 7180, prevention of and response to bullying, intimidation, and harassment, 7200, suspension procedures, and 810, connection with the community. Any comments, questions regarding any of those?
I just noticed something that I'm not sure, and it's my eyes playing tricks on me, but the attachments for the board policy, when you click on board policy, the list that comes up seems to not match the policies. Am I?
Are you looking at the first readings perhaps?
Oh, that's right, we're going
Or
through.
this, I mean, this, we should be looking at the first readings, not the second.
Okay, so I think maybe I'm looking at the second readings
Yeah.
on the attachments, okay, cause there's a list and.
Yeah.
Got it, I was
Yeah,
looking at
quite a
second
few
readings,
come
okay,
through.
I was looking at second readings, sorry.
No problem. All right. Then we'll move on to the next item of business, which is the approval of the position Coordinator of Human Resources. May I have a motion?
I move to approve the addition of the new position and posting for the role of Coordinator of Human Resources as presented.
I second.
So we have grown steadily over the last several years. We currently have approximately 313 employees in Skokie 68. We do not have a designated role focused solely on supporting and leading human resources. It doesn't mean the work isn't being attempted to complete and do so in an effective way. It's split up between several staff members, myself, Ms. Gonzalez, Ms. Austin, Ms. Samajedny, other team members in the room, principals also play a part. However, it has created challenges, mainly around things being at times disjointed. And I also think it's had some missed opportunities around things like recruitment, retention, outreach, some of the more logistical operational pieces of human resources that are required in an organization of our size, but also some of the pieces around the what I would classify, without a technical term, around really tender love and care that needs to go on in an organization to help build the culture and climate. So we have an opportunity here to present a new position for the district. It would be a coordinator level role, and the position would focus primarily on several of those areas mentioned: recruitment, hiring, onboarding, retention, and benefits, with an element of employee wellness as well. That could include things like job satisfaction. It may lead to us monitoring that and seeing how that's improving over the years. But I think it's an exciting opportunity. We've had, just in building the position out, several moments of really like euphoria around like, oh, this role could also do this. So the job is big in its design right now, but we're really excited to put out a strong outreach to find a high quality candidate to join the team. The position would be posted immediately. We would work to try to fill it this year. We're not in any state of rush with that, but we're hoping that by posting it early and now, we'll be able to find a really great candidate to either join us now or to join us when they can. So very excited, there is a new transparency and pay law that went into effect January 1 of 2025. So we have posted salary as well as benefit information as is required of us. So we're hoping that will also help recruit and find a really strong candidate. We offer a lot here in terms of human resources and benefits, which is a great thing. So we want to make sure that that is very transparent and visible for the potential candidate who joins the team. Happy to answer any questions you have or receive any feedback if you'd like to share it.
Yeah.
So
We're very
exciting.
excited about it.
Yeah, we are too. Thank you. Thank you for your support. All right.
Ruffner,
Yes.
Servant,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Warshaw, Paul Jordan,
Yes.
Hyatt,
Yes.
Lonegro,
Yes.
Wonderful, thank you. Finally, there were 3 requests and responses for information under the Freedom of Information Act during the period December 14th through January 10th. On December 5th, 2024, the district received a commercial request from Bo Kim from unionbids.com requesting bid results / tabulation or award for Highland Elementary School renovations. The response was sent on January 6th. On December 27th, the district received a commercial request from Steep Steel LLC requesting copies of all active leases or licenses or management contracts for cell towers, rooftop antennas, or other wireless installations on property owned or managed by Skokie School District 68, along with 24 months of associated payment histories. The response was sent on January 6th. And on January 2nd, the district received a commercial request from Sherry Reed from Data Acquisition Specialist requesting purchase order and vendor information. That response is pending. Our next item of business is entering into the closed session of the board. May I have a motion?
I move to enter the closed session for the following items: the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity.
Second.
Sturbins,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Warshaw,
Yes.
Paul Jordan,
Yes.
Hyatt, Lonegro,
Yes.
Ruffner.
Yes. Thank you. We will reconvene in 2 minutes in closed session. Thank you all.